Hey, Ryan, thank you so much for joining me today. I've been looking forward to our conversation.
So have I, and thank you for having me.
Of
It's
course.
an honor. And I mean, just I'm sat here and I just see your big smile light up that room, and it's really infectious.
Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Yeah, we just got out of a nice snowstorm here. So I know our listeners don't know this. You're in Europe. I'm in
Yes.
Tennessee. So yeah, we just started melting. It was like 20 degrees all last week, ice and snow and all of that. And then it's
Uh,
60 degrees today.
You see, but when you say 20 degrees, because of the way we do that in
Oh
the
yeah,
UK, 20 degrees is really hot here.
you're Celsius, we're Fahrenheit.
Yeah.
So so yes, just trust me, it was cold.
I'll trust you. I
It
trust
was
you.
cold. It was cold. So would you like to tell our listeners a little bit about yourself, about your
Mhm.
business and just you in general?
Yeah, so my name is Ryan Carruthers. I'm from Lincoln in the UK. A little bit about me. I absolutely love my cats. I've got two cats, Jasper and Lily. Love them to bits. And I always joke and say to the wife that if we ever got divorced, I'd probably sue her for the cats. I'm also probably the thing I love more than them is peanut butter. And I am a digital entrepreneur. So I just love digital marketing, and I fell into the membership world many years ago. And I just created a business by pure and utter fluke. So I created this membership and I just charged people £15 a month to be on my email list. And then I would send them information that I'd researched every single day in that particular niche.
Hmm.
And it's in the Betfair niche, which you guys don't have over there yet. You don't have online gambling. And I've got a really obsessive personality. So when I get into something, I get into it. Like I am,
Dig deep.
yeah, like all the time. I will hear if I get into somebody's podcast, that is the only thing I listen to all weekend. Probably hear that voice more than my wife. So
Mm.
um so when I got into that and I realized I need to learn a little bit about marketing. You know, I've always been entrepreneurial and I've always been able to sell and to talk to people, but digital marketing is a whole sort of new thing. So I
Mhm.
went down that rabbit hole and I turned out that I really loved digital marketing. I just absolutely loved it. I loved helping people. And then that membership just built and built and built and built and built to the point where then after 10 years, and helping other people with their memberships. We went into
Mhm.
lockdown in the UK and I still got my other membership. I've just got a team that do a lot of the work for that.
Mhm.
It's like actually I really love helping people with their memberships. So then I was in lockdown and I just created the membership mastery to help people with their memberships and then coming on podcasts like this and chatting to people like you. So yeah, that's sort of me in a couple of minutes really.
In a nutshell. I see
Yeah.
your picture of your cats behind your shoulder. Are those your actual cats, or is that
Yeah.
just a picture of cats?
Oh no, so there's a really, really cool story about that. So I me and the now wife, we got married, and the morning of my wedding, I arrived at the venue. Obviously, I
Mhm.
didn't see her, and a, a present arrived for me in the room I was getting ready, and there was a card, and I opened it up, and Sarah, my wife, had had our two cats painted in the suit. So the boy cat is wearing the suit I wore, and the girl cat is wearing the bridesmaid dress. And I just absolutely love it. I think it's the best thing ever. And we've just moved into this really old house, and we're doing it up gradually. And well, not gradually now. It's all sort of coming, and we just put that up at the weekend, and yeah, it's amazing.
I love it. When you said that, I was like, he really does love his cats because I think
Oh
those
yeah,
are his cats behind him.
yeah, yeah. But then my wife got me that, so she must love them as much as me.
I love it. I love it. So I met you through your Facebook group with
Mhm.
the membership mastery. And it, first of all, I loved that group because it really was just an open, I felt like it was just a bunch of people coming together into a community and really just talking and sharing information. And so just that feeling of the group was great. I know that you recently kind of made a shift from where you started into what you're doing now. You want to talk a little bit about that and what made you make that decision?
Yeah, so thank you for that. I'm all about culture anyway. So sort of in any membership or in any business, I think culture
Mhm.
is really, really important, and it's actually key to your business, and it will really drive where you want to go. But not just your business, in your life as well. You know, if you know the culture that you want to be around and the
Mhm.
values that you have, then it will make all your choices so much easier. But yeah, I decided to shut down that free group. I felt like there was a bit of a mismatch between the paid membership and that group as well. And I love talking to people and I love helping people and I love
Mhm.
people with helping them with their membership. So if people asked a question, I would actually get stuck in and I would help. And I felt like I was always creating content for that group as well as my own group. And I just felt like I was on this hamster wheel. And
Mhm.
I remember I just looked back through what I'd done with my previous membership, and it wasn't sexy, it was just simple, you know. it just
Mhm.
it really is not a sexy thing. That it does is we have a YouTube channel, a podcast, and then we drive people to a page where they opt in, and then
Mhm.
we warm them up via emails, and then we make an offer to them, and if they don't buy that, we ask them why, and they just stay on the list until they're ready, or they can leave, and we just keep giving them really, really good content.
Mhm.
And my life is really simple with that. And I I think some of it was the curse of knowledge, because I'm so much further along than I was when I
You
started.
started. Yeah.
And I just put that into this membership mastery, and then it's just like I'm starting to feel overwhelmed and I don't want to do that. And I also I realized that, you know, by talking to the community a lot, that some of the conversations that I was having, that I was really enjoying having, where
Mhm.
those people were coming from, where people were finding me. People were
Mhm.
finding me from the podcast.
Right.
So I just decided to double down on the podcast, and
Mhm.
email is my thing anyway. Like, I geek out about email. I could talk about email marketing forever and a day. Like, I could bore you and all of your listeners, and I've bored my wife about email marketing. I love it. So yeah, I just decided to keep it really, really simple, really straightforward. Podcast, people can listen to me there and they can
Mhm.
build up that relationship with me, and then they can start to engage with me. So yeah, that's the reason I did that and closed that group.
I think that's really valuable. And I'm so glad that we're having this conversation because I'm kind of in that same mode of thought right now.
Mm.
In first of all, you were segmenting yourself, right?
Yeah.
Because when you have the podcast plus the free group, it's like, well, what do I need? I need to create content to put into this group, but I'm creating content for this podcast and for paid members. And you don't want to give them all the same thing because these people are paying, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so, I've had that struggle as well, in that, I have my membership, I have the podcast, I have the group. The group was first, but the group isn't as your group was a lot more active than mine. And so I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, I'm putting all this effort into putting posts into this group, this free group, and doing things like that, when it's segmenting my attention
Mm,
from paid members, from those who are actually engaging with me and really soaking in the content and having a conversation. I'm
mm,
sitting over here, like you said, on a hamster wheel, trying to say, okay, what am I going to post over here in this group for these people who have signed up? I think it's very valuable to hear that you basically went back to point your solid
mm.
base of where are people finding me, and focusing in on that, and then keeping it simple as far as how do you lead people to ultimately to your paid offer, right?
Yeah. And you know that I found that the free group, there were some amazing people in there, but they just become campgrounds. And speaking to some of my members who I work closely with, they just hate their free groups, and they said, "Well, I just can't. I just people just don't want to join because They just
Mhm.
stay in my group and they get motivation from my group. And that was another sort of reason why I did it. And that's why then when I decided to do it, is I put a post out there saying, I'm thinking of closing this group.
Mhm.
I knew I was closing the group, like 100% that group was
Right.
gone. But I did that to get more engagement in the group, to
Mhm.
get people who were like, oh my God,
Like,
what,
where are
actually,
you
you're going to
going?
get rid of this group? Yeah. Where are you going, Ryan? Like, are you riding off into the sunset with your cats? Have you and your wife got divorced? Have you sued her for the cats? Or have you and has she won? And now you've got no money? Um, so yeah, I decided to do that, and then I reached out to all of those people that commented, and some of my members are in that group as well, and they just said, "Ryan, the way you did that was amazing," and we all want to do that, but we're
Mhm.
scared of closing our free
Yeah.
group. So
Yeah,
yeah,
because it's like these people, like for me, it's like they have been there from the beginning, right? And so
yeah,
it's like, oh, I hate to let that go, but at the same time, my paid members that are in that group, they're still connected with me over in the paid environment. So,
yeah,
you know, if the people are in the group, they either need to get on my newsletter or
mm,
connect on social, or connect with me in a different way without me pulling myself in so many different directions that I'm
yeah,
not doing anything well, right? And that's, you kind of hit the nail on the head of really focusing your attention on the podcast. You're still providing value, but you're doing it in one
mm,
place versus segmenting yourself.
mm. And I know that I work with people who have memberships, so they're
Mhm.
busy. So they
Mhm.
actually really like the audio element of the podcast.
Yes.
So they can do that listening, driving to work or
Mhm.
in the car, not driving to work or walking the dog or whatever, So yeah, and it made me so happy. Like the second I archived that group, I felt like this massive like weight and dark
Great.
cloud had been
Yeah.
lifted. Yeah. And I got sign-ups for the membership like straight away.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, it's something I'm really glad I did.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that was an awesome decision. I think you inspired a lot of people to just do it for themselves, because
Mm,
it really is one of those, I did this, but dot dot dot.
yeah.
What does this mean to cancel this or to end this? Okay, so we talked about podcasts. As both of us are podcasters. So can you tell the listeners a little bit about, first of all, your experience of getting into podcasting,
Mhm.
and then your equipment? I want to see kind of what your setup is, and if are you really deep in it or not.
Yeah, so I got into podcasting a long, 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 long time ago, and I just loved it because I really like people. So
Mhm.
even if people send me an email, you're
Mhm.
probably going to get a Loom video back because my grammar's horrendous. I don't really like typing, and I don't really like getting into the nitty gritty typing. So podcasting is perfect for me because I
Mhm.
can get my personality into the podcast, and I think that's the key thing for the cat is here.
I
Um,
heard it
he,
sounded like they opened the door and shut it.
yeah, he did. He's like, no, I'm not listening to you talk anymore, Ryan. No way. That lady who you're talking to is all right, but you, no, no, no. So yeah, for me, podcasting, I can get my personality across, and you can really build up that know, like, and trust factor with your audience.
Mhm.
'Cause they're probably listening to you when they're doing something that maybe they don't really want to do or fill in their dead time. So
Mhm.
for them to take that time to put on the headphones or wash the pots or drive to it and actually choose to listen to you,
Mhm.
firstly, that's really, really powerful.
Right.
And then secondly, you have the chance to really educate and really give so much value to your audience and
Mhm.
actually really, really help them and connect with the problem that they're solving. So that's why I love podcasts and why I've sort of always had them. And I've had them in sort of three niches now. So
Mm.
I've always used them, and I think they're a really, really great way to build that connection. And then as far as equipment goes, it's very, very simple for
Yeah,
me.
I'm glad
I've
to
got
hear that.
I've got a Blue Yeti Nano that
Mhm.
is currently sat on the Blue Yeti Nano box, and then I have a pair of Bose noise cancelling headphones that I plug into the mic, and that's it.
Mhm.
And then I just use the laptop to record. I edit it myself. and I'm going to sound so English now when I say GarageBand. Um,
It's okay. It's okay.
yeah, I'm going to sound so posh, aren't I? But yeah, I just use that to edit it, and I bought a royalty-free track off like Theme Forest for like
Mhm.
$20, and I just pick the first 5 seconds of that song, and then I just put that in GarageBand, and then I just
Just churn
edit
it
it,
out.
churn it out, and then I put it onto. I used to use Anchor, so I
Mhm.
was using Anchor to host my podcast, but recently I've moved to Buzzsprout just because I prefer the player, and they allow you to do like audio snippets,
Mhm.
and it's just a much nicer interface for me to use. And I wanted to sort of batch a lot of my content. So one of the things that I'm doing with the podcast now is I help people grow, engage, or retain their for members for their membership. That's
Mhm.
what I do. So that works quite nicely because I can do a whole month on growth, a whole month on engagement, and a whole month on retention. So I'm going to do that kind of setup every single month. But I wanted to get 3 months recorded
Mhm.
because I'm having a baby in April. So I wanted to make sure that I was well sort of podcasted.
I
So
didn't
yeah,
realize
that's
the baby was coming in April. I was thinking the baby was coming further out in the year.
no. So April 6th is
Oh yeah,
D-Day.
you better get it.
Oh yeah, yeah. Like my episodes are planned, and that's again,
That's
it's very simple what I've done. I've put a sheet together on Airtable, and
Mhm.
it's that which basically Airtable, if you don't know, is just a sexy spreadsheet. That's all
Mhm.
it is. It looks nice. You can put pretty colors on it,
Yeah.
and that's what I've done. The date that they go out, the episode name, some notes on it, whether it's a solo or a guest episode, the theme, so is it growth, etc. And then a link to the podcast, and yeah, that's it. I think just keep if you are thinking about doing a podcast,
Keep
you can
it
keep it
simple.
so simple, can't you?
Yes. Listen, we're right there together. It's so funny because when I hear people talking about all of these bells and whistles that they put into place, and that's not to downplay anybody who has that or needs that for
Mm,
their creation process, right? But oftentimes those are people who that is all they do, right? That is their bread and butter.
yeah.
But I'm like, I have my ATR 2100.
Mm,
It's sitting right here on my desk. I record most of my podcasts on Zoom, actually,
mm,
whether it's just me or with a guest. And then I edit in Audacity
mm,
and I upload into Anchor. And the way that I learned along the way that when I try to script out, I'm definitely like you in that I do better just talking off the hip and
mm,
just communicating in that way. And so when I first started my podcast, I was trying to script everything out and I was
mm,
like, okay, this is not going to work. There were ums and hums and ums and so I was having to do a whole bunch of editing. And so I realized that when I have guests, it just flows and it's just easy and I don't
mm,
have to edit at all. And so I decided when I was on the podcast myself that literally I would just have a little short outline and I would just talk as though
yeah,
I were doing an interview or something. And that makes the overall editing process easy because basically the bulk of it, it's just is what it is. I add an intro and an outro and I'm done.
mm,
And then I upload into Anchor and call it a day.
mm,
Right. So that's kind of my workflow. So it's very similar to what you do as well.
mhm,
And I think that that's important for people to understand that you can have a successful podcast without having to spend a lot of money or to do a whole bunch of extra. Both of us have mics, but literally you can just use your headphones that came with your
yeah,
phone.
yeah. I did the first podcast I did was the phone. I just
Hmm.
held the phone up like that and spoke into
Hmm.
the phone, and that was it for so long. The only reason I actually bought a mic was because I bought something on Amazon and returned it, and they gave me a refund as a gift voucher. I was like, I don't know what to spend it on. And I thought, oh, I'll get a mic, and then I ended up with three of these. So
Oh, wow.
yeah, because they said the first one broke, so they sent me another two, so I ended up with three mics.
You made out on that deal.
Yeah, I did well.
Well, that's awesome. So, okay, so let's talk distribution because you talked about you moved to you said Buzzsprout, right?
Hmm.
Because it allowed you to do snippets. And see, this is something that on my season 1, I didn't do a good job of the advertising part of my podcast. It was kind of
Hmm.
secret in the beginning, not secret, but it was one of those, let me test this out and see if I really want to do it type of thing. So I didn't want to do a big splash of announcing it. And then halfway through, it was like, oh, okay, now, it's really taken off. And I started putting marketing pieces out, but it really wasn't a big push. And so now I'm just now getting into really focusing in on letting people know what's coming and all of that. So as far as your episodes are concerned, what is your process for notifying people of your upcoming episodes and all of that?
That's a good question as well. Really good. So for me, I'm an email geek, like I said earlier. So I, when you download something from me, I will first email, I'll give you that freebie and I'll just
Mhm.
introduce myself. Second email from me, I push you to the podcast.
Mm.
So go check out my podcast. And usually if I can, I'll try and highlight some episodes that are linked to that download that you've just got
Mhm.
because I know you're interested then potentially.
Right.
And then I push you to the podcast. And then for me, every single week on a Friday, I send out a membership mastery best of the week, and that is just a weekly newsletter and it's
Mhm.
podcast. So I will just promote the podcast. So I think about, and I try to think about this question: if I had to stop you doing what you are doing right now to listen to this podcast, what would I tell you about the podcast?
Mm.
And then that is what I write the email about, and then I send it out, and then that's it. That is literally
That's
all
what
I
you
do. I've played around with ads to use snippets. I've found
Mhm.
that that works. It works better with video because people can actually see this.
Mhm.
But I have tried the little video squiggles,
Yeah, like
and for
little wave
me,
file things.
yeah, but for me, it's just I just put so much effort into my emails.
Mhm.
It's like they just work for me.
Like that's just what works.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
keep it simple.
So are you on social media? Do you have several social media accounts or
Nope.
are you primarily?
So yeah, so I have most of them, but I don't actually use them very often. So
Mhm.
I deleted Instagram from my phone once I watched that social dilemma on. Here she is.
She
I
said,
deleted.
I want to be in the picture.
Yeah, she does. As soon as the video goes on, she's like, "Dad, I'm a
Here
star.
I
Show
am.
me. Here I am. I'm fabulous." Bless her. So yeah, I deleted Instagram, the app from my phone. I only really use Facebook for business.
Mhm.
Um, so yeah, if people are interested in reaching out to me, then you can find me on Facebook. It's just Ryan Carruthers, and then you'll see a
Mhm.
picture of me, big tall ginger guy with my wife, small blonde haired girl, and yeah, but I'm not really much of a sort of have lots and lots of profiles. That's one of the other things that I've realized, especially over this like whole journey, this whole crazy journey,
Mhm.
is that lots of different medias come and go, and actually your target market or the people that you want to speak to, probably 80% of them are on one social platform
Yeah.
anyway. And for
Mhm.
me, that's Facebook. Like membership site
Mhm.
owners are on Facebook.
Yeah.
So I do that, but I'm not very active in terms of like go and check out this, go and check out this, go and check
Mhm.
out this.
Mhm.
I'm like, if you want to do that, you better open an email.
Yeah.
And for me, the reason behind that is that I want you as a potential member of mine to realize that I'm going to email you. If you want the goods, open your
Mhm.
email, get me on your good list.
Yeah.
And then when I do come to sell you something, hopefully you are opening your emails and
Mhm.
from me.
Because you're constantly giving them value. So
Yep.
because I can tell you right now with the emails that I receive, there are a handful of people that if I see their name, I'm going to open it. It
Okay.
doesn't matter. I'm going to open it. I'm going to skim it first. And then if I'm like, ooh, this looks kind of interesting, I'll read it, more clearly.
Mhm.
But there are people that I just skip past their emails. And it got to a point where I was like, why? I need to unsubscribe. Like they
Mm.
are eating up my my mental space. I've got
Yeah.
to get these off of my email list. But um, yeah, I can tell really good emails from the salesy. Every email they send is nothing but sales, and there's maybe 10%, if that, of value
Mm.
in the content they're sending. So people don't do that.
Yeah.
Don't
Just
be that person.
it's so easy to do, isn't it? So easy to do email well. And I
Mhm.
know that people struggle to sort of say, oh yeah, but email is hard, writing the email and writing sort of copy as we call it,
Mhm. Mhm.
makes some people feel like they have wisdom teeth, sort of two coming through at
Yeah.
once. But if you understand your customer and you understand where they are,
Mhm.
where you want to get them to, then the email is just the bridge to get
It's
them there.
it's
So
just
then
the bridge.
you just and I also think as well, my best performing emails are ones where it's like I've just opened my phone up to text a friend.
And you
Like
just
just
started
yeah,
typing.
you just go for it. Really
Yeah.
conversational. Hey, and I've yeah, as I said, my grammar is horrendous, and
But
I've actually had
but
that.
it's authentic. And I know that
Yep.
sounds crazy, but it's like when you back in the day, I'm dating myself, but back in the day when you used to literally write letters to people,
Mm,
you just wrote, and
yeah.
you wrote the way you talked. And
Yep.
so the people got the sense of you based on the email. And there wasn't a bunch of, right now I feel like there's a faddish thing going on where you're putting all of these um I don't even know the word to use, but it's like everybody's emails sound the same and they're using these little code words and different things and
Mm,
emojis. And I'm like, but that doesn't feel authentic. It feels fake.
mm,
When I can tell the ones that it's like, this is just how they talk, because when I see a video from them, they sound just like this email. And
mm,
that's what I want. I don't want to feel like I'm getting a cookie cutter template,
mm.
when I read your emails.
You hit the nail on the head there because that's the worst thing, and you'll see a massive drop off in your sales, or if you've got a membership, you'll lose members because they will not they just will not see you like that. They have this different opinion of you, and then
Mhm.
they actually get inside of your membership and they're like, you're not like that.
Like, that's not how you are. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
you you don't talk like that, Ryan. That's not you.
Like, who is this person? Because
Yeah.
that's not who I got over here. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like who sold me because that just there's two different people
Mhm.
here. There's no
Mhm.
way you were that smooth, right? Like there's no way you were that smooth.
But I mean, that was, I think, one of the draws when, with the group,
Mm,
you would come on, and I don't know where you were in those videos, but I could tell it was just a kind of an empty room
mm,
almost. And you would come in, it was like you were just talking. And it was like, okay, cool. I'm talking to a friend. Like I'm sitting here and,
mm,
and it felt real
mm,
and authentic to
mm.
me.
Thank you.
And that was just it was a draw.
Mm,
And that's one of the things that I try to tell my clients is, stop trying to be perfect. Stop trying to match what this person over here did, because that's not your natural, um,
yeah.
that's just not what you would do naturally. So just be as natural as you possibly can. It is nerve wracking, specifically for those who aren't used to being on video, or those who aren't used to talking into a microphone,
Mm,
hearing yourself. That it takes some getting used to. But if you think of yourself as, and I don't know if you did this when you first started podcasting, but like I would imagine I was sitting at a table for lunch with somebody and just chit chatting with them,
mm,
because it was a conversation,
mm.
and that made it easier for me.
I mean, for me, it's like I've never been scared of this. I've never been scared of anything really. The only thing I'm
Mhm.
scared of is spiders. I don't have that. I don't have that self doubt, and I really I wish I could bottle it up and give it to other people, but I just don't know. I don't know where that comes from. I was talking
Mhm.
to there's a guy who lives in Lincoln, and he was on the TV, and me and him have had really in-depth discussions about this because
Mm-hmm.
he's got a course teaching people how to be a better speaker, and he can just tell. He says by my body language when I walk in that I'm confident, and I just
Yeah.
yeah, I just don't know where that comes from. So I just hit record and go
Here it is.
here. But I think yeah, and I think what one of the things that I've learned of people and of the
Mhm.
market is that when you when people try and target everybody, that's when they're trying to be perfect. So
Yes.
if they're trying to target everyone, they're trying to be perfect. But when you realize that actually a small number of people is where you should start anyway and get that right, all you're really doing is saying, "Hey guys, I'm Ryan. I've created this thing that I like, that I've
Right.
used, that I think's pretty good. I think you might like it.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think?" And then if you get it wrong, just ask them. It's
Yeah.
like, "Okay, why did I get that wrong? What about that was wrong?" And then it's the only way
Tweak
you can
and
go.
yeah,
Tweak, yeah.
adapt and keep moving. Yeah. And I mean, that's, I think, where a lot of, small business owners or new entrepreneurs really struggle, and they don't realize it. Cause, you always hear, you got to pick your ideal customer, you got to pick
Mm,
your avatar. But for a lot of people, they don't truly understand that concept and what that really means. And that doesn't mean that you have to, you don't want this big conglomerate of people.
mm,
Because I mean, when I first started, and I can just be real about it, entrepreneurs, I serve entrepreneurs. Okay, that
yeah,
is such a humongous
mm,
bucket
yeah,
of people, right? And it's like you can't speak to all entrepreneurs. There are so many different types
mm,
that there's no way that you can speak to all of these people. And so I finally realized, like, I've got to niche down. I've got to
mm,
get down to that nitty gritty small group of people that I'm speaking with. And as soon as I really hit that, got that niche down, my business took off because I was able to speak that language and it
mm,
resonated with those people.
mm. That's it. That is it. That is
Yeah.
it in a nutshell. And if you're struggling, when people say, "Who's your ideal avatar?" And I think that's some of that is a little bit internet marketing speak to be like, "Whoa, this is like a secret sauce."
Mhm.
I would just say to people, who are the people that you actually enjoy talking to?
Mhm.
So who do you enjoy talking to? So what conversation after you've spoken to that person or that group of people, do you come off the phone energized or away from
Yeah.
the coffee shop
Yeah.
energized? Well, there's a reason for that. So, and those people they have characteristics that are similar, traits that are similar. They might be at a certain point in their life or a certain point in their business,
Yeah.
and you've helped them and you felt really good about that. And also they felt really good about it. And you want to have more of those conversations. So
Exactly.
go
And
find more of those people.
yeah, and I mean, like, really, for me, when I got into, who is my person, it's me.
Yeah.
Like I said,
Yeah.
okay, I'm a side hustler, I'm a professional, I'm a mom, and so that
Yeah.
helped me shape who I was talking to, because I was like, anybody who has the same type of scenario that I do, they're going to resonate with what I'm talking about, because that's who I'm speaking to.
Yeah.
And so that just, it was an interesting phenomenon once I really figured it out, because I realized, like there's no, like, when you start looking at the categories and, oh well, these people talk to,
Yeah.
you may not fit into those boxes. You may be creating your own box, and that's the beauty of it, because you're filling a hole in the market, right? With who you're trying to speak to. So
100%. And you know what? If you'd have told me 10 years ago that I would have a membership,
mhm.
the cat is going around in circles on this table leg at the moment. Of course she is. That I would have a membership for Betfair traders, that I have 600 members in that membership and they pay for access to my software. I'd have said you were crazy.
Like,
I'd have
oh,
said
well,
you were
yeah.
absolutely crazy. So, and I mean, the niche for Betfair
Mhm.
traders is so small. I
So,
mean,
so
it
yeah.
is so tiny. And that's been going 10 years. That has afforded me an amazing life.
But you found the gap, you found the hole that
Yep.
wasn't being fulfilled, and you filled it, and those people found you. And
Yep.
the funny thing is once they find you, they're going to market for you. They're going to start telling
Oh, yeah.
everybody, the people in their communities, oh, you got to go check out Ryan because he's got this and I haven't found it anywhere else. And that's going to do it for you. But you've got to first niche it down and figure out who it is, and your language changes.
Mm,
When I think of how I spoke to my audience when I was trying to do quote unquote entrepreneurs versus when I niched down to side hustling professionals, and the way that I talk, they understand my verbiage
mm.
differently than the other group did. And it just came off clearly
No,
a lot better.
it's easier for you to write your content and create your content then as well. It's like
Mhm.
it's just it flows and it's natural and you know the words that people use and
Yeah.
you could just hit record and go for it, or you could just
Mhm.
open that laptop or phone and just type and just go
Yeah.
for it.
Yeah, definitely. So you mentioned you were the email king. What do you use for your email management system?
So, oh wow, email king. Gosh, I could talk to you all day. You keep talking to me like that, I won't get out of this room. My head will not fit.
Uh,
So, I am a active campaign guy, and I love active campaign. I just love it. It's so easy to use,
mhm.
and my virtual assistant can use it as well. I think she's probably better on it than me, to be honest. And that's probably because I've made loads of mistakes with it. She's just gone in and sorted it out. But it's just, I really like it because for me, with Active Campaign, I can run lots of different lead magnets and I can have lots of different automations. I can have one list and I
Mhm.
can categorize and sequence them by tag. But
Mhm.
what that does for me is then I can, and I'm really anal with my tags. So I'm like LM lead magnet dash
Mhm.
what the lead magnet was, and then I'm also action ACTN I put, and then what the action was. If I want them to do an action or they've done an action that I
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah.
yeah. So I do that, and then I also do purchase as well. So if they purchase something, I
Mhm.
have like perch, and then if they're a member, it's active.
Yeah.
Uh, but then the best thing there is you can just go straight into it. You can click a contact, you can see
Mhm.
what they downloaded and what actions they took, and then did they become a member or not. So you can actually
Yeah.
see where the drop off is, and yeah,
Based
just for
on the
me.
what the tags that they have. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm a ConvertKit person.
Hmm.
And it works similarly. It is it is context
Hmm.
centric and not list centric,
Mm.
which I definitely see the value of it being contact centric, because you want to just see their journey right through all of
Mm.
your offerings that you have. Have you always been with Active Campaign, or did you start with something else and move to it?
Oh, I've used loads of them. I mean, in my Betfair membership, they don't really like the word Betfair, so they have moved me from quite a few. So I've been with Aweber, I've been with Drip, I've been with Active Campaign with them, I've been with PHP List, which is like we are going way back.
I was gonna
PHP
say
List was
I hadn't heard about that one.
PHP List was
That just the
just
name
horrendous.
itself, I'm like, yeah, that was back in the day.
Yeah. You know, like those websites that you see, like campsites usually have them that
Mhm.
are like the first ever website that was put on the
Yeah.
internet. That's what PHP list was like. But at one point, they were like the only one that would house us.
Mhm.
We hadn't done anything wrong. They just didn't like the sort of gambling thing. But we're not. We're
Yeah.
traders and we're actually a software company. So it's totally different.
Mhm.
But now I'm with Get Response with them. But I do not like it.
Uh,
So,
what is it
but
about it that you don't like?
their user interface is poor,
Is
so
bad.
so
Yeah.
poor,
That
and
can kill it. It's like even if your
oh,
back end is good, like if your UI is terrible, who cares about your features?
right, exactly. And if you look at Apple and Microsoft, they're a prime example of that.
Mhm.
And that's that. If you look at that as well as a sort of a marketing exercise, the Microsoft Note, their notebook on tech specs on back end would destroy an Apple iPad. It would destroy it. But you watch a Microsoft advert and it's like, oh my God, there's this feature and there's this feature and there's this feature and there's this feature. You watch an Apple advert and it is a grandma miles away from her granddaughter on FaceTime, pressing a button
You're like, it's
and
easy,
talking to her.
simple.
Easy.
Don't even have to give instructions. Yeah.
If
Yeah.
you're a parent, a friend, a grandma, and you are away from your friends, and you're just like, oh yeah, okay. And you see that advert, you want
Mm-hmm.
an iPad. You don't
Yeah.
want the Microsoft whatever it is that goes for 24 hours because it doesn't matter. I'm not going on a train.
You're so funny.
I think you should tell my wife that.
She's like, no, he's not.
She's like, no, I have to live with him.
She's like, don't encourage him, okay?
Yeah, don't encourage
Sorry,
him because
Sarah.
I've got to live with him tonight.
I apologize. Yeah, I'm beginning to ConvertKit has recently made a bunch of changes to their user interface, and they've added some nice features or some nice they've changed the way some of their stuff is working. They're really working on improving their UI, but in the process of that, they made changes that were kind of major as far as your data structure was concerned. So I am a little irritated with them right now because of that. Because, like you said, you had your process, right? Of, you buy something, this is what it says. And, and so I had all of that set up. And then they added the benefit of when you buy something, it actually creates this product tag that it adds on its own. You don't have to create them. And that was great in theory, but if I add somebody manually, myself as the admin in Teachable, and then somebody signs up on their own, they create two different product tags. I'm like, why are you doing this to me?
You are literally causing me so much pain right now.
I mean, seriously,
Why are you
I'm like,
doing it? Yeah.
stop it.
I'm a little bit scared seeing your face. You look quite angry about that.
I'm serious. I was like, what is going on? Because it's continuing to grow. And I'm like, this is so much bloat in my system. And then not to mention what I had set up before manually. So now I got to go back and get all that cleaned up. And so, when you go in and all of a sudden you see this stuff in your system and you're like, where did this come from?
Yeah. Why did you do that? It's like somebody coming into your house and moving your furniture around. Like,
it's better. No,
Yeah.
it is not.
No, it's there for a reason. Like, do not move it.
There is a process. I can do it in my sleep. What are you doing to
Yeah.
me? So yeah, I have a love-hate relationship with them right now. But I mean, it is a good system, but I'm just like, you know what? Y'all are about to tear your britches. That's what my grandmother says. You're about to tear your britches right now. Give you some little Southern colloquial. I can't even say the word colloquialisms. No, that's not right. Just forget that I just said that. Southern verbiage.
I love it. I do love your accent very much.
Accent? I don't have an accent.
Oh, yes, you do.
That's hilarious. That is hilarious. We didn't even mention the name of your podcast. Tell everybody the name of your podcast.
So it's just the Membership Mastery.
Membership Mastery. And then are you just talking about, I've listened to it, but just for everybody else's purposes, you're just talking about creating memberships and all the things that come along with it?
Yeah, so all the things sort of membership based. It's pivoting a little bit more now towards membership site owners. So somebody already has a membership, already in motion, already has their sort of first few members, and they're looking to really accelerate that. But I won't delete the back catalog. And in the back catalog, I've got, if anyone is thinking about a membership, I've got 15 steps to launch your membership. And I literally break those down and give you everything. There's no sort of like fluff. There's no sort of, you've got to pay me, or, oh, I'm going to tell you 90% of it and the other 10% is going to cost you 10 grand.
Yeah.
There's like none of that. It is just me talking pretty much to the point. Do this, do this, do this, and you'll be able to launch a membership. So yeah, it's just the Membership Mastery, and yeah, going forward, it's sort of more focused towards current membership site owners.
So your membership, how is your membership on a like a learning platform, or are you
Mhm.
doing something special with yours?
So my membership currently is on circle.so.
Mm-hmm.
And so my sales pages are on ClickFunnels. My membership sort of area is on Circle. But what I found is that and that's like a forum based, Pat Flynn's using it for his sort of community and his teaching. And I use it to deliver my content for the membership. But I found that there's like a tipping point for me with memberships and forums where getting engagement on a forum initially is really, really tough. But getting
Mm-hmm.
engagement on a paid Facebook group is actually a lot easier. So the reason I chose Circle is because it has that forum feature. So
Mm-hmm.
I can use the Facebook group that's locked only for paying members at the moment, and then they go into my Circle area, my membership accelerator on Circle, and they start to engage with the content. They start to comment. They watch the live Q&As and the recorded videos and all that kind of stuff. And they're using that. And then when the Facebook group gets too big, I'll just move them into there, and it should
Gotcha.
hopefully be a
You'll just
smooth
do a
transition.
transfer over. So Circle has, you can do videos, and then is it more of just the forum base?
Yeah.
You post your question and we can respond back and forth.
Yeah.
And then Facebook is more just the back and forth and
Yeah.
having the community aspect.
Yep.
Am I
That's it.
understanding that correctly?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I have been seeing a lot of circle.so things. I got a couple, somebody else must be on it in my email. And so I'd seen it, but I didn't really know what the platform was.
Mm.
Um, so
Mm.
yeah,
I really like it. It's easy to use. And for me, I've moved a large membership from Facebook to a dedicated forum,
mhm,
and that was a load of fun. Like I just
I'm
like,
sure.
ooh, that was a lot of fun. So sort of I was thinking sort of 10 steps ahead with this,
Mhm,
and moving this to and keeping this on Circle. And it
yeah.
integrates with Active Campaign, and I have to do like a few zaps to get a few things working, but
Mhm,
I can sort that out. So yeah, it's not a
yeah.
problem.
Yeah, I think that's important for people to think about, because a lot of times we start with Facebook, or that's the immediate like, ooh, we're going to do everything in Facebook. And
Hmm.
in some cases you're kind of blocking people out of your community because they choose not to be on social. They don't want to be on Facebook. And so that may be the perfect customer for you theoretically, but they're not going to come in and commune with you because your platform, your membership or whatever is going to be solely on Facebook. So thinking about having that outside of Facebook, I think is important.
Mm-hmm.
And you may say, well, my audience member is pro Facebook, and
Mm-hmm.
so if they don't want to be on Facebook, they're not my audience. But that's just something to think about when creating them. Mine's on
Definitely.
Teachable. It was on Thinkific, and then I switched to Teachable because of the affiliate program that they have
Hmm.
that I can add. It was at a lower level, and plus their platform just seemed more clean,
Mm,
kind of talking more about the UI stuff. And so I went over into the Teachable camp. But I'm one of those, I'm open,
mm,
to the possibilities of what can happen with your membership. I'm enjoying Teachable right now, though. I've got it for at
mm.
least a year. So and once you get it on there, like kind of like you were saying, like to move it,
Oh man.
like
Yeah.
I don't, I'm like, just forget it. Just
Yeah,
leave it
it's not
there
going
and
anywhere
run with
now.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it's a big move, isn't it, when
because
you do that?
I hadn't even created the membership, but I had trainings over on Thinkific that I just, when I decided to do the membership, I was moving all of my teachings, all of my workshops into the membership. And so I'm like, no, let's just go with the platform
Mm,
over here. But just getting all of that content up, moved over, downloaded, moved over, and all of that, it was cumbersome.
yeah.
And then just like interface differences, because if you are creating your stuff in one system and you're like, if you want to comment in the discussion area in the upper left hand corner, and then you're like, okay, that video, there's no comment section.
No, it's like it's down,
Like
it's
it's
up,
down here
it's
now. So
Yes. So
Ignore what I said.
yeah. So now I've got to actually re-record that video,
Yeah.
and
It's
that
like
video
either
took me 10
re-record or put the
times.
note. So like some
Yeah.
of mine, I'm like,
Yeah.
look, I just put a note. I'm like, listen, it's down here.
Yeah. I am a fan of the note as well. Put the note, don't re-record.
Yeah. Oh gosh, been so much fun talking to you, Ryan. Will you let everybody know how they can get in contact with you if they want to work with you further?
Yeah, so I think there'll be absolutely no surprise. It will be email. So there's a couple of ways you can do that. You can go to themembershipmastery.com, and then on there there's like links to my free resources. So I've got resources on like an engagement campaign. So I'll give you 365 days of things to put inside of your membership. There's a membership growth calculator. And then there is also fill in the blank sort of email templates to get you going. So you can get them on the website. But if you want to just email me directly, you can. It's Ryan at themembershipmastery.com. And I personally open and read all of my emails as well. So
Wonderful. Thank you so much for being here with me today. Tell Sarah, I hope, everything goes well. Don't get on her nerves, Ryan. You gotta act
I've,
right.
I've done like 8 years of getting on her nerves. It's not going to change now. My response to her
Don't
is,
change.
you knew this before
You
you
knew
married
it
me.
coming
You
in.
knew this. You knew this.
You had
So
the disclaimer and you chose to ignore it.
exactly. But now there's that strange sort of setup, isn't there? Like before we got married, I'd hold her hand out of pure love. And then we got married, and now it's just out of self-defense. It's really scary.
Don't hit me.
Yeah, just stop it. But yeah, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you.
You too. You too. We will not be strangers, I know. So,
No way.
all right. I will talk to you soon. Thank you so much.
Thank you.